You know, it's much more a tradition in America. You've got to, impro is one of the things in your skill set, but we just don't really do much of it here. And it's not to say like we don't have scripted bits, of course we do, and we have set questions that we have to get in somewhere, but the rest of it really is free fall, and a lot of the joyous, unexpected moments come from that. And you're so present. You're so present. You have to be, because you genuinely don't know what the guest is going to say or where they're going to go next. And it just keeps, you know, keeps you alive. It's just a fantastic way to work.
Sounds terrifying.
Also terrifying. Indeed terrifying, but good terrifying. I think you should, it's good to do things that scare you a bit, especially as you're getting on. Push the boat out a little, flex those muscles.
Talking of getting a little bit older, there's a beautiful thing you've said, an elderly Indian woman is one of the least powerful, most invincible presences in society, so she can really say what she wants.
Yeah.
Epitomised there.
Yeah. Oh my God, I grew up with a lot of, I used to love hanging out with the old ladies when I was younger. And they did all sit with their legs apart and dress in white. And they were like me, they didn't give a shit. You know, they'd seen it all, they'd done it all, and for a lot of them, it was the first time they were truly free, because they'd always been, from birth, somebody's daughter, somebody's wife, somebody's mother, never their own person. And suddenly, in widowhood, at this advanced age, having been through a lot, they were owning it. And I loved being around them, funneled all of that into me.
Were your grandmothers a presence in your life growing up?
No, I wish they had been, but they were both in India, but both of them did actually come over at different times to stay with us for some months. So I had sort of an extended close period with them in England, and then obviously I'd see them when we visited India. But I think that's why your aunties and your uncles become quite important to you, because you don't have, for many of us, didn't have our real family. So those friends became very much your family.
You've mentioned the US and improv working maybe a little bit more there. Did you ever feel, when there was kind of a little bit of a mass exodus of British, Asian and Black talent going to the US, did you ever feel that you might want to take the leap across the pond?
Yeah, I mean, we both had opportunities to do that, but actually we, you know, because we had kids here and they had routines and stuff, we didn't take those opportunities when they came up, although I totally can see why we had that drain of talent, because it's ridiculous. Marianne Jean-Baptiste got an Oscar nomination and had to go to America to get her flowers. I mean, that really shouldn't be happening. And it seems to be a pattern that we don't recognise the Black and Asian talent we've got here. They have to go to America for people to go, you're great, and then they come back and star in a series here. It's like we need approval to go, yeah, you actually are quite good. That should not be happening, but that's a thing. So no, we didn't do that, but you know, I have an empty nest in September, so maybe then. No, it's never going to happen, is it? Such an interfering mother, I'll just be like, are you missing me? What am I missing? I'll stay here.
Manifest. You've spoken a lot about kind of growing up in a community atmosphere, having this extended family, and then you wrote about that in your first book, Anita And Me. 1996, was it?
Yeah.
What was it at that time that made you want to put it down on paper?
I think the sense that our histories were not recorded. And I honestly didn't want people to not know that we were here and we were contributing and we mattered. It felt so important to me. It's part of that feeling invisible. Particularly my parents' stories in that generation. I mean, I'm still really sad that most of the generation that have lived through partition are not with us anymore, including my mum and dad. And we should have had a witness booth. We should have recorded those stories. I know some people have, but we didn't do it enough. And now they're gone. I think there's a really beautiful African saying that every time an elder dies, a library burns down. And that does feel real to those of us that, you know, revere our ancestors' journeys and think they're worth recording. But most importantly, if we're not in the history books, then what are kids being taught at school? If we're not writing down the other version of history. So I really felt that keenly when I went to, when I did Who Do You Think You Are? And for Hindus that you when you take the ashes to the Ganges, there is you have to find your family priest. Each family has got one, and they have this massive book. It's incredible, where they write down everyone that's brought ashes to immerse in the holy river, and you see the whole of the generations of, in my case, Syals before me, and only men were in there. It was fathers and sons, fathers and sons. And on the one hand, it was wonderful to see that legacy, but it was also like, nobody writes about the women. Nobody recorded who was his wife, who was his mother, who were the daughters. So I put my name in it. I'm the first Syal woman with her name in that book, and I hope I've started something. I think they are changing slowly, but and I thought, well, that is actually what happens when history is written down. If you don't fight to be on that page, no one's going to know who the hell you are. And this is part of what I think a lot of us are trying to do by telling these stories. And so for me, honestly, one of my proudest moments of my career was seeing a study guide to Anita and Me in a shop, and opening it and just seeing these pages about the rivers of blood speech and partition, and it really moved me to tears. And I thought, kids are going to be learning that in school now. That's incredible. That, I feel, is, something that means something. Yeah. As you know, the present government voted against decolonizing the curriculum, but I hope the next one will reverse that, because, if people actually knew why we were here and the journeys that brought us here, then that would change their attitude towards immigration and us generally.
And that our families are invited here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.